Hey there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider, and this is part one of a special 5-part series that we created to discuss a very important topic as it relates to our female clients, and that's training the female core. And this will lead up to a brand new product and resource we've created for individuals just like yourself so that you can be the go-to resource for your female clients, especially those clients that are struggling with chronic issues like chronic low back tightness and or hip tightness, discomfort, and or the inability to perform at the levels your female clients need, want, and or do the things they would love to do. Now you may be thinking to yourself, why do we need another approach about training the core? Don't we already have enough core exercises? And absolutely. You know you have tons of core exercises. And in fact, if I asked you for 10 core exercises, you could rattle them off like that. And if I asked you for 25 exercises for the core, you could rattle them off like that. So then why do we need another product and or approach to training the female core? And isn't training the female core just like training the male core? Well, the reason we created this resource for you in this special Integrative Movement Insider series is to bring to light some certain aspects about training the female core that is different than training the male core. And because we see so many clients that come to us struggling with chronic low back and or hip tightness, discomfort, and inability to perform at the levels they need and or want related to their core stabilization strategy. And more specifically, the other reason we created this resource is because I just came back from Perform Better Functional Training Summit. I was presenting out there in Rhode Island. Great experience, great individuals. I love to be part of this event. Chris Poirier and his entire team at Perform Better do a wonderful job bringing together some of the top speakers and coaches in the industry, both the participants and the speakers. So it's great for me to sit there as a participant and learn from all these great individuals. And one of the things that we tend to get taught in the industry, you and I have learned probably the exact same thing, that many of our clients' issues is related or are related to how they stabilize their core, and more specifically that they have a weak core. And I'll be the first to tell you, and probably the first to tell you, that most of our female clients that struggle with chronic tightness, discomfort, and or inability to perform at the levels they need to and or want to, it isn't about weakness of their core. Can they perform better if they had better strength? Maybe, but it's really not about weakness of their core. What they have is a non-optimal and inefficient strategy for expressing and using their core strength that they have. Now, if we think about the individuals that perform the best, we often attribute it to they're strong. They have so much strength. They have core strength that's unbelievable. But when we look at the individuals that perform the best, the way the body is designed to perform, one of the examples I love to use in my presentation and that I shared with the participants at the Perform Better Training Summit was the individuals in the Middle East that carry massive loads, especially the women that carry massive loads on top of their head for miles upon miles without creating neck problems and back problems and or hip problems. And most of these women, when you look at them, and the image I put up on the screen, these women are scrawny little women, but they carry massive loads. In fact, when we were teaching in India 2 years ago, one of the women said, hey, that's a really cool image, but have you ever seen the women stack bricks on top of their head? You know, I've seen women stack, 2 feet high, 3 feet high of bricks on top of their head. Because that is the most efficient way to stabilize, or I should say, to load the spine and carry heavy objects for long periods of time. So what is it about these women that enable them to do that without breaking down? Because the majority of your clients, now think about your strongest clients that you have, or you yourself, you're very strong, you're way stronger than these individuals. But how many of you want to take that on to carry a massive load on top of your head for mile upon mile? Because that is the most efficient way to carry things. Most of us will say no, and even our strongest athletes cannot carry things on top of their head without quickly having neck problems, upper back problems, low back problems, hip problems, and or foot problems. Because we don't have the same strategy as these women over in the Middle East and or Africa that carry those loads on top of their heads. So what do they do? What do these women do that allows them, enables them to safely and effectively carry these loads? They do 3 things very well. Number 1, they align their trunk, spine, pelvis, and hip complex to accept load. And you can think of this like this. Here's a great example. Take your finger like this. So your first finger, not the middle finger. Push straight down through your finger. So you can hold that position for a long period of time. Okay? Now take your finger and load it like that. How long could you hold that position before you had discomfort and or just weren't able to hold it anymore. You overstretch your ligaments, you stretch the joint out, you load the joint structures in ways that they're not designed to load. Or how about this position here? Or how about this position? I should say more like that, okay? So when the joints are loaded in the right position, where the joint surfaces are in the right position, you can maintain a load for long periods of time. The other thing these women do is they breathe very well. How do I know they're breathing very well? Because when we think about breathing, what breathing really does, and this is why breathing is so important. Very few people talk about this. They just say, hey, you gotta breathe. Breathing is important. But they never really talk about why is breathing important. Is it regulates internal pressure between the thorax and the abdominal and pelvic cavities. So why is that important? It's like the diaphragm works as a hydraulic amplifier inside the thoracopelvic cylinder, from the first rib, which is right here behind the collarbones, down to the pelvic floor. So when you're breathing well, when you have a good three-dimensional breathing strategy, you're able to regulate pressures. So that way you can withstand loads coming through the top side of your head and down through your spine. So whether you're carrying something out here on top of your head, or you're even loading in a back squat, for example, or deadlift, your spine is protected because of the regulation of internal pressure. Hence the reason why power lifters and Olympic lifters will often, for a period of time through the lift, maintain activation of the core so they're not getting crushed by those external loads. So I see a couple of my colleagues, one of my best friends, like a brother to me, Pete's watching this, and he's a big weightlifter. My buddy Steven, an integrative movement specialist, is watching this, and a former student of mine, and actually teacher, Daniel Salgado, is also watching this. So thank you for joining us on this webinar. So what we want to do with our clients is help them better align and breathe. And now the C of the ABCs is control. We want to teach our clients how to control these positions. And it's not just about bracing. Yes, there's a time and place for bracing and stabilizing the core. However, we want to teach our clients how to maintain activation of their core muscles without bracing, with just a bracing strategy. And we want to teach them how to do that through functional positions. So tomorrow, Janice and Sarah will come back to bring to you the first step in the integrative movement system process for training the female core. Because so many of your female clients have a non-optimal and inefficient strategy for appropriately using their core. And that's the majority, or the biggest reason, that so many of your clients have chronic issues. They have a non-optimal and inefficient strategy for using their strength. So the first thing, our very first goal, is to help our clients develop a more optimal and efficient strategy for posture and movement. And that's the entire purpose of using the integrative movement system corrective exercise strategy. So tomorrow, Janice and Sarah will come back and discuss further about how we train the female core and why this specific approach works so effectively with our female clients. So thanks for watching. Sorry about the sound and the lighting in this room. I'm locked myself away on the West Coast to begin writing my next book. So I haven't shaved, and I also am locked inside this room. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll be back next week to bring you part 3. Janice and Sarah will bring you part 2 tomorrow to show you the exact strategy we use, and then I'll be back discussing further the strategy we use as part of the integrative movement specialist, so that you can help your female clients, especially those clients that struggle with chronic tightness, discomfort, and or the inability to perform at the levels they need to and or want to, get back and or continue the things they need to, want to, and love to do. Make it a great day. Enjoy the holiday weekend if you're here in the US, and if you're in another part of the world watching this, take care. Thanks so much. Make it a great day.